Instruction, golf news, equipment, travel, interviews, course profiles, and more. Your weekly fix of all things golf is about to begin. It's the Flagstick Podcast with your hosts, Jeff Potter and Scott McLeod.
Well, welcome to the Flagstick Podcast, episode 75, creeping up on 100. Presented again this week by Golf PEI. Golf Prince Edward Island is a premier Canadian golf destination boasting the most number of golf courses per capita in the country, with over 400 fairways, closer than you can possibly imagine, top-tier accommodations, and exquisite culinary experiences. It is the easiest golf vacation you will ever book. So book your golf vacation at golfpei.ca. Obviously, right off the top, we want to just remind you to follow us across all social media networks, Instagram, X, TikTok, and Facebook. Please subscribe on Spotify, Audible, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, and we really do encourage you to get onto our YouTube channel, subscribe there, like us and click the notification bell. Make sure that you never miss a single episode ever. Scotty Mac, have you finished adjusting your hat?
I have.
You just spent 5 freaking minutes here adjusting his hat. The logo's not straight. We're not getting the proper branding. My logo's not straight.
No, I just have a crappy habit. I don't know if anyone else has it. Of when I put on my hat, sometimes that they're not on straight. I don't know why.
Maybe your eyes are crooked.
Maybe they are, but
I
was looking at some photos that Nick Gauthier took at the PGA or the Ottawa Gatineau Golf Expo, and I was on the stage, and it's like I know probably when I look at it, I think it's more skewed than it is, but I when I looked at the photo, I felt like I was like this or something, you know what I mean? But it was really just off by a little bit. But it's just like
somebody's a little self-conscious.
I don't know. Like, I don't really care, but I just
think you do.
I just think it's funny that all of a sudden, do I always wear my hat a little bit crooked?
Nobody ever says anything.
Just so I have an
75 episodes, the hat's been crooked in all 75 of them. I haven't said a word.
I don't even think it's the episodes. I think it's real life. I think I just do it. So, anyways, welcome back, Jeff. It's been a minute.
Well, we did it. We did a week.
It
was March break, so we did a week.
Yeah.
We apologize for our loyal listeners and viewers that were expecting us last week, but we did warn you that it was March break and that we wouldn't be doing a show. So I'm sorry, but it was March break.
Yeah. I had an opportunity, actually. I could have probably played golf last week.
My son Brandon
but I didn't.
He played at Pakenham.
Wow.
And then they closed the next day because it was too cold.
Yeah,
it was so cold. They only played 9 holes. He said they basically froze their butts off. They could not believe how cold it was. It was supposed to be like 8 degrees. He said it felt like it was minus 20.
Well,
and he was wearing shorts, apparently.
I mean, we got a lot of golf courses that, I won't say a lot. We got a number of golf courses that open. Obviously, if people look at our course openings calendar, there's a number that open.
At flagstick.com.
Ranges. Some of them stayed open straight through, which is kind of funny. A lot of them just said, hey, it's the weather's nasty and we're not going to have staff and stuff out there. So, I warn people, make sure you call ahead for sure. Most of the golf courses are saying, we had snow down here in Kingston the last couple of days. We had a little bit of it. But they will be getting back open or courses opening for the first time. But I have to be down in the Niagara region. We had to go
of course.
And it was disturbingly how good it was on the Wednesday. At one point, we had got to sort of Grimsby as we were driving down, and the thermometer in the car actually hit 25. And no intentions of playing golf or whatever. I mean, really, it was like 2021. But shout out to Travis Glass, a PGA professional that I know at Eagle Valley, and he'll hate me if he listens to this. The fact I drove by his place and I saw golfers out there, didn't have time to stop in and say hello, but Travis, hi to you now. Cool to see your course open. There's a bunch of other golf courses that were open down there, and it felt like springtime. Truly, it's good to see. But I think it was sort of a false spring.
Well, I saw Dragonflies opening tomorrow. Social media.
No, they've been open. They've been open.
They must have closed because
they did close. They're reopened. They're now reopening. So, but I mean, I saw a bunch of other people, even James Duthie, Ottawa guy. He's about to go into the Ottawa Sports Hall of Fame. We'll get the Hall of Fame talks later. But the Ottawa Sports Hall of Fame, he was out playing, and he tweeted, and it was just pure regret. You could tell because it was snowing or hailing or wherever he was, and you think it's a good decision. You're like, oh, but it wasn't. I'm gonna get out. I'm gonna get to play golf or whatever.
Yeah.
And then you get out there and you're just miserable.
I guarantee that Brandon and Shane regretted it the moment they teed it up. They regretted being out there, and I know Brandon said Shane wanted to leave pretty quick, but he said Brandon wouldn't leave because he was playing decent. So I think Brandon's like, I'm not leaving. I'll leave after 9, but I'm finishing this.
Oh God.
So
oh well.
Goofs. But you know what? Everybody's chomping at the bit to get out there. Everybody wants to play. It's been a long wait, even though it hasn't been a harsh winter.
No,
it's still you can't play, right? I mean, it's still winter. Right. You're not playing. There's snow on the ground, so it's still a long wait to get out there, and a little more patience. Let things get into a stretch where golf courses are open and are cutting some greens on a regular basis. I know a lot of golf courses, when they do get open, I know Castleview used to do this all the time. They post on social, they've cut the greens 10 times, or they've cut the greens 6 times. Yeah. That's what you want. Yeah. If you're getting out to play, you want the golf course to have gotten out there and cut the greens,
maybe
a
little
times.
Some people
kind of that's sort of like the it truly is really open. I mean, it's not just the snow is melted and now we're gonna start taking green fees and.
Yeah. And I'll say this, they're not on the calendar yet, but I've definitely talked to a number of staff and a number of people at a lot of clubs who have made decisions already on dates, but have not made them public yet. And have said, these are our speculative dates. We're thinking about it. We'll wait to tell our members. So this is maybe among our pro GM community or whatever. So we've, they've let us know a little bit, and then they will confirm, in the next little while. And we're going to see a lot of those show up on the calendar. I know Nation, for an example, I think April 5th, I just added it to the calendar. But again, it's with a bit of caution. It's knowing that, the weather can change at any moment, and really understand,
obviously.
Yeah, really understand here in Eastern Ontario, Western Quebec region. Think about it. How many times have you actually played golf before the Masters in this area? It doesn't happen a lot. It really doesn't happen a lot. So.
A lot of times it's the driving ranges that are trying to get open for the Masters.
Very much.
And they're open earlier this year than normal, obviously, because it's a driving range you can. Yeah. But patience is the key. If they'll open when they open, and they guarantee they'll open earlier than they did last year, but it doesn't have to be a month ahead of time.
No, exactly. All right. So what do we got going on this week?
Do we have a doozy of a show this week? Obviously on the front 9, we like to use that time to kind of catch up on all the things that we missed in the last week. And in this case, there might be a few things we've missed in the last couple weeks, but so we'll get caught up on all the things, local, regional, national, international, wherever. And on the back 9, we got a cool little topic. On the heels of the Players Championship just ending, we know that the Masters is the next big one on the docket, and very excited about that. Not my favorite major, but still a major, and I still like the Masters, but I have favorites. But one of the key things at the Masters is the Champions Dinner, where the champion gets to pick the menu. And not only are we like to reveal what that menu will be, but we want to reveal what our menu might be.
Now, I haven't put a lot of thought into this yet.
Neither have I, but I already know. What my meal is. So right. We'll wait to the back 9 to find out.
And what's been? Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
But I'm well aware of exactly what my meal is going to be. So.
Okay. I'll say too, what's been fun is even the Masters shared an Instagram template that was getting passed around in people's stories that's allowing them to create their own menu. And I was I was just sifting through a bunch of those. There was 520 some or whatever that were posted there last night. They ranged from really good to really funky to ridiculous.
To just downright stupid.
Yeah, pretty much, but yeah, still fun. It's just fun for people to do. And, it leads us into discussion about, not only the Masters and that sort of thing, but, the traditions of the Masters and stuff like that. But, we'll get to that on the back nine.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Well, let's get to the front nine presented by Metcalf Golf Club, a natural setting. A pleasant challenge. Golf season is obviously closer than you think. Don't wait to start preparing for the upcoming golf season. Get on a wait list for memberships and leagues or purchase some game passes to start the season. Save compared to regular green fees. So visit metcalfgolf.com to shop for those now. Okay, let's dive into the
Did you dive?
The front nine. I dive. I dove. I didn't jump.
No diving for 2 weeks, and next thing you know, that happens.
I didn't dive. I usually jump. No, isn't it jump? Bad. What is it's jump, right? Is it dive? Is it jump? Do you care? Obviously, you don't care. I know you hated it so much. Like, I can't even show my face when he's talking about this crap. Oh, he's back now.
No.
Oh, and he's on the wrong camera.
Oh, yeah, I'm on the wrong camera.
That's all right.
Figure that out.
Okay, well, we're having some technical difficulties, but here's the thing. Oh, there we go. On the fly. Hey. I like the camera switch. Can you do that? Like, can you? I have to do that. I have to hook another camera up, so then I can go over to my little thingamajiggy here, and I can switch the camera angle. So I can do like I can put it up here above my head, or I'm going to do that. I'm going to take another camera, and I'm going to put it on my other monitor.
All right. Sounds
all good. Right. Screw that. Okay. All right. Well, let's talk about the Players Championship, because that's the one that just finished. Yeah. And is I watched.
Fresh in the mind.
I watched. I could not watch. It was. I even said to my lovely wife on Saturday night after it was over.
Yep. Saturday night after it was over.
I just noticed that you spelled women's wrong on this script there. And
excuse me, what?
Womnas. Okay. Anyway,
where's that?
I don't know. Under the Mississauga Country Club information.
Oh, okay. All right.
I'm calling Scott McLeod out on
I don't think so.
Air. I'm not clipping that. Okay, so Players Championship. I told my wife that.
Yes.
You see it now, don't you?
Sorry.
Yeah, he's fixing it. Live fixing. Scott McLeod. Right. I told my wife on Saturday night after the second round was over. I said,
third round was over.
I said, this is what's happening on Sunday. I'm doing this. I'm coming home.
Really?
Yeah. I'm coming home. I'm sitting. I'm going to make lunch. I'm going to sit down, and I'm watching the players, because I said it is going to be exciting. It's going to be an exciting. I feel it. It's tight. There's lots of potential, and the golf course can either give you or it can take you. And in Scotty Scheffler's case, it gave him and he took. Yeah. And in some other guys' cases, it took away. But man, right down to the freaking wire. It was so exciting.
Yeah. It was really good golf. And I mean, it was the 50th edition of it, which is great. I mean, obviously this place has a legacy now. I think, obviously the first number of them didn't take place at this golf course. It wasn't built yet. But I think one of the things that's important about the Players, whether it's obviously a very significant event. Some people try to argue, that it's at a major level or whatever, and it's pretty getting there. But I think the familiarity of the golf course really helps people, because they're used to seeing it. They know the holes, they know the finish, they know, there's been some changes and stuff over the years which have been great, like the 12th hole you don't have to hit this hook around the corner. It's obviously more drivable. The tour pushes the tees up. Obviously we saw that with Scheffler, for an example. Makes it that much more exciting. And creates those opportunities. But as you said, it can give or it can take, depending on what the golfers do. But I think that's the fun test of it for sure. So, just a comment.
I mean, we obviously we played Sawgrass. Yep. Was not honestly, cards on the table, not my favorite golf course of the golf courses that I've played. Probably the strongest, most difficult finishing 3 holes that I've probably played.
Yeah.
You know, rivals very, very closely the bear trap, as far as the difficulty of a section of 3 holes. Um, but man, you know, I what I don't get is that the golf course is really, really hard, but the scores that they're putting up, like, it's just that, I mean, this we talk, it's you know, talk about it being the 5th major, you know, it's on a major level. And yes, as far as the quality of the field goes, it's up there. As far as the difficulty of the golf course goes, it's there, but it doesn't seem like it. You know what I mean? Like, it seems like the golf course is, maybe it's because there's so many eagle opportunities out there, that, you know, good players, you know, they can hit irons off the tee and still reach a par 5. You know what I mean? Like, whereas maybe some major courses that they play, you know, I mean, you've seen some of the Open Championship courses where you play Carnoustie, and if the wind is down and it's wet, you know, they'll eat it up. But if the wind is up and it's dry, you see what happens, the whole Jean Van de Velde thing. And, you know, where the golf course plays, you know, that 1 or 2 under par is a good score. You know,
I my comment really on that, I mean, if you look through and, you know, you play the golf course and you see it, and obviously, you know, there's some greens that are the exception, but while they're sectioned off in some of the areas, say a green like 13 for an example, or 17 for an example, overall, the movement that's in the greens is really distinctive, but not severe. And I will say, not severe in the way that, you know, those steps are big in difference, like, again, like 13 and 17, where the section differences, but the slope is not overall like a grand big slope that's you know, that makes it really, really difficult. And I think the one thing about this golf course that, you know, some people love and some people hate, is it's so highly conditioned, like over conditioned, this golf course is, to the point like it's ridiculous. Like an Augusta National, it's become a point of, we'll call it pride for the tour, when they see all these, you know, these sizzle reels with all the mowers out and all sorts of different things. But, you know, a lot of people are going, whoa, 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 you know, that's kind of ridiculous. It's not the expectation that should happen on a real golf course. The cost that they probably put into that just for this one event is something else. But as a result of it, though, the conditions are so pristine on these greens. And you can look at all the stats in the world, and you'll see that obviously is the conditioning level, the consistency of the greens, the green speeds, the pureness of them, so forth. You're going to get more balls going the hole.
Do you think that do you think that's part of what's happening at Augusta too?
Because
you look at those 2 majors, and I mean, this one traditionally, if you look back at the history, I'd say that 20 under is probably become somewhat of the norm for a winning score.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? And the Masters is kind of the same thing, is that guys are shooting 20, 22, 24 under to win major championships.
Yeah, we're not seeing it that much yet at the Masters. That's an exceptionally high score, or a low score as far as the Masters. I think it's weather dependent. I think now the players, I mean, we're seeing, now that it's earlier in the season, I think the conditions for some reason are a little bit better. You know, being in March versus May, I guess. What was it, May before? Yeah, it was May at some point.
It was early. It was May.
Yeah, but I mean, that's a while ago or whatever. But now that we're seeing in March, I think it's better conditioned. It's sort of the end of the condition there. But I think that's helpful as far as this. I think it's helpful when the golf course is not super firm. If this course is really bouncy, right? If it wasn't watered to heck, the scores would be totally different. I mean, if you think about 18 as being, you know, imagine the Players Championship, imagine TPC Sawgrass Stadium course browned out. Imagine what the scores would look like.
But I guess that's the question. What do people want to see out of the Players Championship? Do they want to see what we just saw?
No. Yeah, they do. Yeah.
Or do they want to see, do they want to see players going into Players Championship, and they want to see players shooting, you know, 70s and 71s and 75s and 79s, or do they want to see 64s and 66s? You know, do they want to see Scheffler shooting 64 to win?
Yeah.
And having, you know, I mean, by all rights too, though, Schauffele and Wyndham Clark did not shoot 64.
No.
You know,
And
they pretty
I'll
much
say this.
didn't do a whole lot on day 4 and round 4. And Scheffler did.
Yeah, I mean, I only have anecdotal, information to go from or whatever. I'd say it favors the lower scoring side for most people. I would think some people, they watch 17 like a car crash. They're waiting for disasters to happen there. They're waiting for balls to go bouncing off. But just as much, players are looking for that spectacular shot like, Wyndham Clark made, where all of a sudden, he needs to get that birdie and obviously hits it into that slope and rolls it down there. I would say if the conditions get too extreme, then the chances of that happening are really, really slim, and maybe things are not as exciting. You don't want the conditions to be so homogenous and easy that it brings everyone in there. You want to really showcase that the people need at least a certain level of skill to pull off certain shots. But I think people will definitely will argue. I mean, you just saw it online, the social media reaction to people watching this final round and how it played out, and the theater of it a little bit, and the fact that a player like Brian Harman can be in the mix here, against a Wyndham Clark when there's 20 miles an hour club head speed difference off their driver. I think that sort of gets us to a nice mix where all the players can make things happen. And you'll leave it up to the players to decide it, not just the golf course. So
all right, well, we have just had quite a discussion about the Players Championship.
Yes, a little longer than maybe we thought, but
probably about 8 minutes here before we want to take a break.
Let's rip through a few things.
Let's just burn through this.
Might have to push a couple of things to our back nine.
Yeah, so the PGA Tour Americas gets going in its first season as the PGA Tour Americas.
Yep.
And we have 12 Canadians in the field in the first event.
Yep.
So that's exciting. It's exciting to see that.
Yeah, it's happening down in Tulum, Mexico. So it's good to see that compilation tour now taking place. I think the players are pretty excited about that. A lot of people are excited just the fact that it's going to be a longer circuit for the players that are at that level, as opposed to being one circuit where it's PGA Tour Americas and other circuits where it's PGA Tour Canada. Really only makes up, kind of 8 to 10 events. And it's not really a full season. Whereas now these guys can, have a longer season, and with still some opportunities for people that just want to play the Americas portion to qualify kind of midway through. There's a few spots available, but we are seeing a few less Canadians on the circuit though, so it's harder to get onto it. But the players that are going to be there are going to be better, and they're going to be better prepared as they go up the ladder on the PGA Tour.
All right, Alena Sharp Monday qualified for the Seri Pac Championship in Ponte Vedra, California. And
what? Go ahead. I want to hear that again.
I'm not saying it again. I said it right first time. If you didn't hear it, I'm moving on. In California.
Okay, I love it.
Not doing that.
That was sneaky though. That was
good, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It's as bad as you spelling women's wrong, and players apparently too. So you're looking at it right now, aren't you? You're trying to see.
What?
She joins the likes of Savannah Gruel, Henderson, and Monami LeBlanc in the field. So we will look forward to watching that. And good on Alena Sharp for getting into that.
Yeah, that's hard when there's only 2 spots available.
Yeah, big time. What else we want to burn through here? Mississauga Golf and Country Club announced as the host venue for the 2025 CPKC Women's Open. And that'll be happening in late August 2025. And they're the 8th club to have hosted all 4 big Canadian events, women's and men's opens and amateurs.
Yeah. which is good. And Yuka Sasso actually won the World Junior Girls Championship there in 2016. Obviously went on to win the U.S. Women's Open, so maybe she's the prohibitive favorite when they come back there. Still one of the top players in the world, so nice to have a little bit of local knowledge when you get back there. But great club. The director of golf there, Jeremy Broom, great guy, and I know that club will take a lot of pride in hosting that event, and will do an exceptional job on it. And being in the GTA again, we should see a good fan base out there. A lot of people just want to see the golf course. This is a place where people from Walter Hagen to Sam Snead have won tournaments before, so good spot.
There you go. Some OVGA news. I think we can probably get through this before the break. So some OVGA news. Obviously, the OVGA has opened registration for all 2024 events. That's now online. Very exciting. You'll see some ads circulating around flagstick.com to that effect. But get over to the ovga.org to register for any of the events on the schedule.
That's the Ottawa Valley Golf Association for people not familiar. So.
The AGM for the Ottawa Valley Golf Association will also take place on April 6th at Highlands Golf Club. And there will be a Zoom component to that for those who wish to attend on a virtual basis. And one other Ottawa Valley Golf Association point of news is the OVGA has named its Hall of Fame inductees officially for the 2024 class of inductees, and some very familiar names on this list, and some that I think people will very much recognize. Dwight Reinhardt, who is a past champion of the Flagstick Open.
Yep.
And
among many events.
I mentioned that one because it's obviously close to heart with us, but many golf events on the OVGA circuit. And
Dwight was a former professional, played all the way up, played collegiate golf in the US, and played all the way up onto what is now the Corn Ferry Tour. Even played a couple of events, Monday qualified into a couple of events there, has some cool stories about playing with guys like John Daly back in the day. And eventually got his amateur status back and has become an accomplished amateur. No doubt that would happen, and certainly as a player, a valid inductee.
Yes. Vera Charlebois is also being inducted. Stan Horn,
another longtime pro,
being inducted. Lise Jubenville is the final inductee in the player category. Obviously, Lise, much like Dwight, very accomplished player. Played and participated in and won many Ottawa Valley Golf Association events. And so those are the 4 player category inductees. And then there are 2 builder category inductees. One very familiar, Paul Charette, long time Rideau head pro, still heavily involved in a consulting basis with,
he's a pro emeritus now. He was 38 years as the head pro there. Came to Ottawa Valley to work for Tom Mann at the Royal Ottawa Golf Club, and then moved over to work for Roger Dagenet at Rideau, and then assumed the head pro job there in 1980. And not just a pro there as well. He's somebody who's, obviously he's in the PGA of Canada Hall of Fame, worked his way up in the board level there, became president of the PGA of Canada, very instrumental in doing a number of initiatives around the Valley, all over the place, has been a mentor to a lot of people as well, and a quiet mentor to many very people, which I think is the neat part. People don't often see, especially a guy like him who doesn't necessarily bring attention to himself. There's a lot of things that he would do behind the scenes that people that know who nominated him, they know what he's done. And as a result of it, he's being honored. So it's pretty cool to see him going in there.
And the final inductees into this class would be humbly
this is weird.
Flagstick magazine and
Yeah.
flagstick.com is being inducted, myself and you being inducted into the Ottawa Valley Golf Hall of Fame in this year's class in the builder category. Yes, we're builders. It's kind of odd to talk about it. It's very humbling. When I started the magazine back in 1996, accolades and awards and pats on the back were not something that I was looking for. I was trying to build something, and we have put in a lot of long hours and time, to be honored by the Ottawa Valley Golf Association for that is huge. So we'll leave it at that for now, but all the full bios and stuff are up on ovga.org. You can go and check them out, but we got to take a break. We do got to take a break before we get cut off. So when we come back, we're going to talk about Masters Dinner, and we'll talk a little bit more about this. So stay with us. You're listening to the Flagstick podcast with Jeff Botter and Scott McLeod.
When you golf on Prince Edward Island, there are over 400 fairways closer than you can imagine. Not to mention countless miles of pristine beaches and a rich world-class culinary experience. So get here fast, then take it slow and play around on Island Time. Golf Prince Edward Island.
All right, welcome back to the Flagstick podcast with myself, Jeff Botter, and of course Scott McLeod.
Is that us?
That's us. I got the logo from the logo, and I got the hat, which is on straight. Is it straight? I guess you got it straight. Okay, yeah. My hat's on straight, and I'm ready to go. So we just want to come back before we get into our back nine stuff. We just want to come back and just kind of follow up a little bit more on the Hall of Fame stuff. And I don't want to dwell on it too much because I'm not that's not who we are. I don't need to be honored like this is very humbling. And I mean, I guess in some respects, I always hope that at some point or another in the life of what we've been doing here for the last 28 years, that this kind of thing might happen, and and that the legacy of what was created, will kind of live on in that kind of a setting. That's kind of, I guess in some respects you kind of do want that to happen. I don't need it for me.
No, I think it's recognizing the work, and I think it's important for people to know and understand that covering these stories, having these things journaled, having a record of all these things happening is an important factor.
It is. And nobody, and the thing is, at the time, and not even at the time, and then beyond that, nobody was doing it. Nobody was, and nobody is doing it, except for us. Now there's a few people here and there that publish a few things, now and then, but to the level that it's been done within the Ottawa Valley and this region, since the days of Eddie McCabe, which was somebody that I spent a lot of time sitting and talking to when I first started this back in '96, because he was always at all the events, particularly the Ottawa PGA stuff. I'm not saying that was a mentor of mine. It was just somebody that when I started it, I ran into and basically sat me down and said, okay, if when you come to these events, this is what you do. This is the kind of thing people want to read. Because I didn't know. No. I just wanted to start a golf magazine and see, because I knew
you didn't know how deep it was. Really,
I had no idea how and I'm not going to call it a rabbit hole, because sometimes a rabbit hole is a negative thing. Right. But I didn't have any idea how big the ladder was. Jack's Beanstalk's got nothing on the ladder that it just goes on forever.
Yeah, I think people should recognize. I mean, look, there's over 5 million people that are recognized as being involved in golf in Canada, that are playing the game. Everybody's got a story.
Sure.
Every person that's involved, every tournament that gets played, every, event at a club, 2,500 golf courses in Canada, 4,000 pros. There's a lot more to the game than kind of just what you see and what dominates discussion all the time when you flip on the golf channel. There's a reason why, like friends of ours like Ryan French and Monday Q Info, the reason why he's successful, because he starts to tell the stories of the grinder pros and the players that are up and coming. I will tell you straight out, doing coverage, and this is no disrespect to the people that are covering stuff full time on PGA Tour, LPGA Tour, DP World Tour, for an example. There's some people that are doing fabulous jobs there, and they're doing it because they go beyond what's just easy. But it's the easier stuff to cover, because a lot of the stuff just gets handed to you, whether it's transcripts, whether it's video, whether it's photo or whatever. The amateur stuff, there's more of it, but sometimes it's harder to dig out the stories. But in essence, they're the more important stories.
100%.
Because that's what people can relate to more than anything. I mean, our games are not the same as the top pros in the game. And while we might love and admire every single thing that, a Brooke Henderson or a Nick Taylor does, it's the next Brooke Henderson. I mean, her story is important to us, not because of what she's become, but who she was, and her story and the road along the way. And I can't even count now the millions of, words that have been printed through Flagstick properties and, the content and stuff like that. But all I hope from this is that people recognize, one, it was important what we did and continue to do, that maybe that opens up the eyes to other people to support it, first off, and to recognize that, if people stop telling these stories, which is what we're seeing in mass media all over the place or whatever, then we're going to lose a lot. We're going to lose a lot to the
who
culture.
will tell the stories.
That's right. We're going to lose a lot to the culture of the game and just don't take it for granted. So again, I'll just say it on behalf for me, this is not about me. This is not about you. This is about Flagstick, which just happens we're essential components of that. But I think the recognition of the publication and what it's done, and especially in the builder category, I think that's meaningful in the fact that, whether it's supporting tournaments, trophies, junior programs, the untold trips to the middle of nowhere to just be at a charity event, to to find and dig out a prize to support some, whenever you can. It's not possible to support everything, but I think that recognition is important, and that's why I think things like the Hall of Fames are important, not to there to buff up the egos of the people, but to recognize their contributions to the sports, to the sport from a playing ability. And that's one thing. But from a builder's category, as far as to supporting the game, it just recognizes a lifetime of work versus, something that's really short time.
Yeah, no. Well said. Well said.
Yeah.
And that is what what it's about. That's what it's always been about. For me, is it's about the product. It's about the content of the product. And, like you said, we're conduits,
right. Great way to say it,
of the product, but, and thusly are being recognized, for that.
Sure.
But ultimately the product is the hero. And is getting a spotlight, which is the nice part.
So but thank you to everyone that's reached out, that's mentioned anything. Really appreciate it. And we continue to we appreciate all the support over the years, and it's been neat to hear from people that, are talking about, having copies of the magazine from all the very beginning. And
that's the only sad part about it, and I keep saying that. And the Golf Expo was part of that too, is that, we move forward. Progress is an interesting thing, and you're kind of put in a position where you have to change directions of what you're doing. And yes, there's no print magazine anymore, but the content that we were producing in those print magazines still lives on the same way that it always has. Then nothing's changed.
Yeah.
In that
stories
respect.
matter. Stories matter, not the format.
Exactly. So we keep moving forward. But thanks to everybody who's extended their congratulations and stuff. We appreciate it, and we do appreciate the Ottawa Valley Golf Association Hall of Fame Committee for selecting us for it. So there we go. All right, I'm crying. We'll leave it there, and we'll move on to some back nine talk. Let's talk back nine. Let's talk the back nine, presented, of course, by Celtic Golf Center, located 20 minutes from Ottawa in Kemptville. Celtic Golf Center's indoor golf at another level, featuring 5 state-of-the-art TrackMan simulators and 2 new Unicore sims with GS Pro. Celtic Golf Center offers 10,000 golf course options, including many major golf courses. You may have recognized this past weekend, and you may be recognizing coming up in a couple of weeks. Play rounds with friends, practice full swing analysis, or play golf games. Visit CelticGolfCenter.com to learn more to book tee times. All right. So let's get into the back nine. Let's talk. I'm hungry. Let's talk some din-din. Some din-din. Now, it's going
to be tough just because I'm hungry.
This is going to be easy. It's not going to look anything like this menu, though, I'll tell you.
No,
so one of the traditions, obviously, the Masters is coming up, and the Masters is all about the golf course. It's about Augusta National. It's about azaleas. It's about crystal blue water and well-manicured fairways and rough, and in some cases, it's about pimento cheese sandwiches.
Yes.
But it's also gets kicked off with the traditions of the Masters Champions dinner.
Yeah.
And good Lord, the previous year's winner. This is insane. I can't even talk. The previous year's winner, I just reloaded. The previous year's winner obviously chooses the menu for the Champions dinner. And this is an interesting menu, but it sparked a conversation that we wanted to have. We're going to look at this menu and discuss this menu, and then kind of maybe shoot some ideas of what our menu might look like if we were the Masters champion, because that's ever going to happen.
And I think everyone does this now. I mean, this has become very common, but it's, it's a fun thing to do, to sort of play it out. People look at what the menu's like and they decide whether they like it or not. They have a laugh at maybe what some of the people have done over the years. But as I alluded to, even the Masters is getting into this now and sharing templates on social media where people can fill in what their own dinners are. And it's fun to see. It's fun to see because really it comes down to people making choices of things they love, maybe things they want to share, which is what's happened here in John Rahm's case. Now, he didn't mention particularly which dish it was, or I haven't seen that so far, but one of the dishes is from his grandmother, one of the favorites. But the things that he loves and he wants to share his Basque culture. He's a Spaniard from the Basque region, and that's reflected in this menu. And I think, one, Spanish food's amazing. Two, I think players are going to probably love this as well. You can always order something off on the side, I've been told, if you're not really.
I wouldn't want to be the one doing that.
No, but players, maybe people will do it. It might be some of the older dudes or something like that, and maybe something's a little too spicy or something like that. Maybe they just want to go something, a little bit more plain. But so he's kicking it off with tapas, which is fantastic because everybody likes their appetizers, and he's got 6 that are on here with a mix of all sorts of different things.
This is outstanding.
And here's the thing: we're going to mention what some of these things are, but we're probably not going to pronounce all the Spanish names because
there are English names underneath them on the menu, so we can handle that. I can handle cured pork loin and acorn fed ham.
Yeah, Iberian ham. Yeah. Well, we don't want to hear you pronounce Palo Verdes already. So, again.
That's what I said.
It didn't sound like
Palo Verdes. I said it. It's just, why do you keep bringing it back up?
Because it's fun.
I said Palo Verdes. See? I don't know what the problem is. I said it properly. I'm drinking my coffee. Okay, acorn fed Iberian ham and cured pork loin.
Yeah, we've got some great things within the tapas. We've got some cheeses with black truffles. We've got some lentil stew, which is his mom's classic lentil stew.
Yeah, they even put on Mama Rahm's classic lentil stew.
Yeah, we've got some spicy bass chorizo with potato. We've got some Spanish omelet with onions and confit potatoes, creamy corn fritters and confit potatoes as well. I mean, that's
a lot of potatoes.
Yeah, especially with confit, where we've got basically made with fat that's in there. I mean,
that's a lot. That's a starchy tapa.
You might be falling asleep by the end of these tapas or whatever. Certainly rich, a lot of flavors that are here, and it's nice though to get that with the tapas, you just get a little bit of this, a little bit of that. You don't just have to overindulge. And then we head on to the first course, which is really a Basque crab salad.
I like that with
potatoes as well. So.
What is with the potatoes?
I don't know.
Is this okay? I'm not I'll be the first to admit I'm not up on all of the
Spanish culture.
The Spanish culture here, but is someone help me out here? Are potatoes like a big deal in Spain? Because I mean, my gosh, there's potatoes in everything.
Yeah, there's at least 4 dishes already that have had potatoes in them. So,
all right, yeah. But they get their choice of main course. Now I know what my choice would be, but
you're not going to go for the turbot.
No, I'm Basque rib eye.
Oof, yeah.
Basque rib eye. I mean, just it just seems right.
I know,
doesn't it? Just seems.
Can we just finish early and go to lunch?
Yeah, I'll meet you in Brockville.
Okay, sounds good.
Be there in an hour.
Can we people let us know where can we get a Basque ribeye?
The Brockville Country Club maybe has a Basque ribeye.
Okay,
maybe Jason, can you whip us up a Basque ribeye and a Tudela sat lettuce and some peppers? We're not into the turbot and the white asparagus, but I do like white asparagus, but I'll pass on that.
Look, if there's somebody that could,
no potatoes though.
It's probably Jason for sure.
Can I have French fries?
Yeah, okay. And then
I guess kind of a potato.
Desserts, a puff pastry cake with the custard and chantilly cream.
Nice.
Yeah, I mean, what a meal! Super rich. Have a nice nap afterwards. You get a
big time.
I mean, fabulous menu. It really is. It's a spectacular one. I mean, I haven't gone back and done a lot of comparisons, but I've seen a lot of mentions, a lot of people saying it's probably one of the best menus that they've seen prepared. He obviously put a lot of time into this, takes some pride in it. Despite the fact that obviously he's not playing on the PGA Tour now, he's certainly playing in all the majors because he's eligible, and he takes great pride in the fact that he won this championship, like 3 other Spaniards have done in the past with Ballesteros, Olazabal, and Sergio Garcia. So he's going to take the time to make them proud and make his country proud by dishing out a great menu here. And I haven't seen too many comments yet from other players, but I'm sure there's going to be a few that are going to come out and just basically say, wow, I can't wait for this. So,
wow.
So how about for you?
Wow, I can't wait for this.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, mine's easy. I mean, appetizers. We could do appetizers. I guess we want to do some appetizers. That's fine. But I'm more as like I want to get things kicked off with a nice little starter Caesar salad. I do like Caesar salad, but I want the fresh made, fresh baked bread croutons, slightly seasoned and very buttery. I like the buttery croutons, so you can really see the butter in them. And I want that Caesar salad. I want it nice and tangy, nice and zippy. Not too much garlic, but just enough. Make some fresh bacon in my Caesar salad, not the bacon bits. I want the fresh bacon cut, torn, whatever you want, like fresh bacon in there.
Bacon bits are not even bacon.
Well, it depends. We get the ones from Costco, and they really are.
Well, there's a difference between bacon crumble and bacon bits.
Bacon bits are the traditional, crunchy ones from freaking,
which God knows what they make them from. I don't even want to know what.
Is it really bacon or is it?
Well, that's it. Yeah,
pigtails. I don't know.
There's difference between.
Okay, so we're doing the Caesar salad like that. The main course, what we are having chicken parm.
Oh
yeah, we're having chicken parm. Damn. And we're having that with spaghetti, and we're having that with a nice meat sauce on the spaghetti. Okay. We're having that, and then
like a bolognese.
Little bolognese. And that's what we're doing. We're having chicken parm.
Nice.
But we're talking real chicken. Real chicken
as
breaded
opposed to
with the freaking chicken cutlet that they call chicken parm. They take the chicken. They freaking take the maple leaf chicken burger, cook that, throw a little tomato sauce on top, and then sprinkle it with cheese. And that, big X out. Don't even think if I go to a restaurant and I get the friggin' maple leaf or the Jane's chicken burger,
oh god,
with the meat with the tomato sauce and the cheese dumped on top of it, and then you sprinkle it with the parsley and call it chicken parm, you should be embarrassed.
You should be walking out.
Embarrassed.
That's what you should do.
The real chicken, but that with a nicely butterfly that chicken open, bread it, get it nice and get the breading nice and crunchy. I
made that last week, by the way.
I can imagine you did. I had that last week at Johnny Canucks, and it was very good. We do like Johnny Canucks chicken parm. Just saying, but I would love to make. Did you make it in the air fryer?
No.
You do that in the air fryer. You take the chicken, you put it in the egg. They put it in the egg mixture, and then you hit that with the breadcrumbs and then you put that in the air fryer. That would be good. Now in the pan is better, obviously, but if you want to do them in the oven, that's okay too. But the air fryer, the air fryer is my new favorite thing.
Next,
okay. So and then for dessert, we're having a little slice. We're having a little slice of cheesecake.
Oh, okay.
cherry cheesecake. I'm not a strawberry cheesecake or a fancy cheesecake. I'm a straight up cherry cheesecake guy. That's what I like. And
I probably disliked cheesecake because the only cheesecake I was served early on in my life was cherry cheesecake.
Oh, really?
Which
my cherry cheesecake would be nice. Could be a little swirl in the cheesecake. They get that little red swirl in there. Yeah, well, that's what we're gonna do. And then we're gonna finish it off.
We're gonna be doing a podcast. And we're gonna be talking about cherry cheesecake.
And then what we're gonna do is after we're done that, then we're gonna sit around. And we're gonna be talking shop. And what we're all gonna have is we're all gonna have a nice Tim Hortons dark roast coffee. That's what we're gonna do. We're gonna finish that off with the Tim Hortons stuff. It's got to be Canadian somehow, right? That's the Canadian spin on it. That's the Canadian spin on it, and everybody's got to have it in a Tim's cup with the roll up the rim.
No
come on, that's the Masters dinner. Like Mike Weir should have done that.
No chance.
No. Okay. Well, that's mine. So okay, Mr. Hoity-toity, what's your Masters dinner? What's your Masters dinner?
All right, I'm gonna start with.
I'm just gonna drink my Tim Hortons coffee.
You do that. I'm gonna start with some lobster tacos.
Lobster taco. We're going island. I like it. Lobster tacos. Is your mom making them?
No. We gotta get some just PEI aspect in there.
Okay, yeah. Fresh off the boat.
Yeah, real fresh. We'll go with that. Then we're gonna go for a main. I mean, main's tough. I mean, I love the fact that he went to a Basque ribeye, but I'm gonna do a prime rib.
Prime rib.
Yeah, we're gonna do some. We can do some good Canadian beef. AAA.
Okay.
Nice prime rib, good size. Au jus on the side. Some nice PEI potatoes.
Okay.
Maybe a little garlic in them. That's going to be good that way. Dessert, we're going to do creme brulee.
Creme brulee. By the way, are there potatoes?
Yeah, there's potatoes already served with the prime rib.
Okay, I just want to make sure there's potatoes.
I got to have potatoes, right?
Yeah, of course. So, good PEI boy, got to have potatoes.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
A little creme brulee. Might do a chocolate creme brulee. I remember when we had dinner, a dinner we had at Pinehurst when it had chocolate creme brulee. It was really, really good.
Okay.
Shout out to the I think that was the 1895 in. And then we're what do I have left to do? That's the dessert. I think those, I mean, I could probably throw in a lot of different other options and stuff for there. And then we're going to finish, you know, we're not really getting into the drink menus and stuff like that, but people can choose a nice Italian espresso or an Americano, maybe something kind of Lavazza or something like that.
Ooh,
or
okay,
they can maybe have a little whiskey to kind of finish.
Whiskey. No, I thought maybe you'd go dessert wine there.
No, because I think we've already got a lot of sweetness already with the creme brulee, so I don't think so you got to kind of offset it a little bit. That's why I think the whiskey provides a little bit of bite to it, or at least even if you had the espresso a little bit.
What about dessert whiskey?
Sweet. Yeah, you don't want to get too sweet.
You remember the dessert whiskey?
Oh, I remember the dessert whiskey.
I remember too much with the freaking whiskey.
But
Big Pappy.
Yeah, so a little bit of that to finish. So
nice.
Now
okay.
I've seen some other stuff that is pretty wild. When I look through, I captured a couple of different ones. I saw some people did everything from like first courses with like, you know, wings to, you know, nice strip loins, rabbit, you know, all sorts of different things. I saw some people do crab cakes for their starters, which is nice.
Crab cakes, yeah, that's good. Crab cakes would have been a good starter in your little menu there too.
Yeah, there's a lot. Charred grilled oysters, that would have been an option for an appetizer. Some people went some other ways. They went just like some gumbo and stuff like that. I think you could take this a lot of different ways, but again, you know, I think it's a combination of showcasing maybe where you're from, to showcasing what some of your favorites are, to at the same time making the dinner palatable for everybody that's there and enjoying it, right? Because you just, you know, you have to take into account the room. It's no different when you're hosting at your own house.
Yeah. You don't just have your own favorites on the menu. And they say,
yeah. If you have something that's your favorite, but you know, half the room is going to hate, you know, they're not going to, they're not going to leave going, wow, that was a great meal. You know, on the other side of it, you don't want to just make stuff that, you know, you don't like at all. You want to enjoy the meal too. So it's always a bit of a balance that way. But I'd love to hear from people what maybe one of their parts of the meal was, maybe what their dessert is, maybe what their appetizer is. I mean, I saw one guy, he actually had calamari, chicken parm as a first course, and then a main course on New York strip. Like
chicken parm and New York strip.
Yeah, exactly.
How would you even get up from the table after that?
I don't know.
Especially calamari.
Yeah.
Chicken parm.
Yeah.
And a New York strip. And then there's probably dessert on top of that.
Banana pudding.
Banana pudding. Okay, dude. Yeah. Did you? So as long you don't want to play a practice round the next day?
Oh, well, you thought that one was rich. Try this one. Crawfish etouffee. Obviously, this is a person in Louisiana.
Yeah, definitely.
Cajun lasagna. Whoa. I don't even know what the hell that is. Smoked alligator. And then peanut butter cheesecake.
Well, that's not bad.
That's pretty rich, I would say.
Alligator. That's just chicken.
Yeah, I mean, there's just definitely some great ones. It's fun to go through, and it's a fun little thing. And I think the great part about the Masters, and part of the reason why we love the majors as they are, especially the ones that are, you know, longer standing. And that's when I say longer standing, I'm taking into account, you know, what we see on the LPGA as well. Obviously, it's a little harder to establish sometimes a major as it comes up. But we like those traditions, right? And, you know, the champions dinner is a big thing. There is an amateur dinner as well for the amateurs that are at this. There's several other things that take place, and this is what we expect, and this is why we get an attachment to the Masters. I mean, first off, it's at the same golf course, so we know the golf course. The golf course is talked about ad nauseum every year, and we're going to be part of that, right? I mean, talking about holes, the changes, you know. Everybody knows
we are, right?
Yeah, everybody knows it inside and out, and that's part of what makes it exciting. And I mean, you know, that plays into why we like Sawgrass, and that's why you mentioned it. People know that finishing stretch. They know that 16, 17, 18. They know what it brings into play. You know, they expect it on TV. It's not like you're learning the golf course each time, which can make it a challenge sometimes for US Opens or Open Championships, we tend to have our favorites within those because of the courses that maybe we're more familiar with more than anything. But I think that's one of the key things about the Masters. What are the other sort of traditions that you kind of see within the Masters that sort of are your favorites?
Well, it's the obvious ones too, right? I mean, obviously the amateurs stay in the clubhouse.
Yeah, if they have that option. Yep.
Yeah.
Up in the crow's nest.
Yeah, the par 3 contest that happens every year. I mean, obviously you don't want to be the one to win the par 3 contest, but you still want to play in it.
Yeah, and it's fun to watch. It really is. It's so fun with the families, and it's a way for it's a way for the people that have earned their way into Augusta National, to get there. And I think one thing that I didn't put in the notes, but I think now the Augusta National Women's Amateur and the drive, chip, and putt, they sort of now rounded out the week. Shout out to Colton D, young guy from Kingston down here, who's going to be participating down there, who bombs it a good way, and he'll be taking part in that drive, chip, and putt. But I think all those things, keep adding in there. There's a few other things as well.
Yeah. I mean, obviously the green jacket ceremony at the end is the tradition like no other. The thing that you probably recognize almost as much about the Masters as the golf course.
Yeah, and people probably recognize the green jacket more than the actual Masters trophy.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, exactly.
Because you don't see the player holding up the Masters trophy.
No, they're wearing the green jacket, right?
That's
the big thing, and probably the players. The green jacket is
more symbolic,
the most important thing to them after winning that tournament as well.
Yeah.
One of the things about that tournament too that I saw you put in your notes here, and it's interesting because a lot of other golf tournaments do not have this rule, is that there's no phones on the golf course.
Right.
You watch, you clap. It's the traditions of that go back before there were phones that you could have on the golf course. So why change? It's the things that Augusta National hasn't allowed to change.
Yeah,
and it kind of sets things in time, right? It's like
and I think what's cool about this is you mentioned it right at the end there, is that you can bring cameras in. I've had cameras down there and shot the Masters before, but what you start to hear at the golf course is different than what you hear at most other tournaments. When you hear most other tournaments now, when you're there and you listen to the noise, you hear roars, you hear people talking, or oh, or whatever the case may be, but you don't hear clapping. It's because they've got their phones up and they're taking video nonstop, so they don't clap. And when you hear the sounds of those echoes of the clapping coming through the trees, and when you're at Augusta National coming through the pines, I mean, it just it sort of brings you back, and you can tell the appreciation for a good shot or a bad shot. When you hear a roar, you hear a roar when it's one great shot, but clapping is a sign of more respect more than anything. So sometimes that clapping takes place even as a group is just walking from the tee past a group on the fairway, a group of spectators, because they're clapping because they're showing a sign of respect for that player, for their career or their history. It might be a player that's a little bit older and as a past champion or something like that. If you're watching like a Fred Couples playing at the Masters, people are just showing their sign of respect. He might not be hitting the greatest shots. They'll make noise when that happens, but it's that clapping that's taking place, and that sort of just shows the people know a little bit more about the game. And I think that's something that gets lost with having the full on take whatever photos you want, bring your phones out, do whatever you want. I'm all for people commemorating being at those events, and they're paying their big ticket prices now to be at these events, and they're able to do that. But I just think that's something that gets lost, is that clapping. So.
I agree. And obviously honorary starters is another one of the big features of the Masters, where they have the honorary starters. And a lot of traditions there. I mean, it's one of the ones you look forward to the most. I mean, hopefully this year we don't get much rain around Augusta time, Masters time. And
2 more weeks.
The course plays firm and fast, which is when it's at its most difficult. All right. So looking forward to that. Last
tradition is the downloading of the Masters app, which became available yesterday. Which
tradition.
You know,
here we are just talking about no phones on the golf course and stuff. It's like people watching class like, I gotta get my app. I gotta get the app so I can follow it.
Yeah, but
it is kind of cool. I mean, one of the cool things about the Masters app, as for me, has always been the leaderboard, where you can watch you can have it in the traditional app style where it's just a list, or you can have it in the leaderboard style where you actually see the Augusta leaderboard. Manual leader. There's another tradition there's another perfect tradition about much like with the Open Championship.
Yep.
Is the manual scoreboards, you know, where it's all done by hand, not there's no digital scoreboards on the property. And, you know, they do have TV screens and stuff like that, but
they do have them up, but most of the ones that are up there, the digital signs that are up there for messaging or whatever, they're not scoreboards. But that seeing, you know, I think one of the iconic moments is when you get there and you go in the entrance, the first thing that you see when you go from the you go into the area that's the course itself, as you look to the right, and the first scoreboard is right there on the right side of one, and that sort of says, oh, okay, I'm here. That's the real deal as far as that leaderboard. And, you know, much like, you know, at baseball games, when you see those, you know, manual scoreboards and stuff like that, it's that little bit of tradition that connects you kind of to the past. And you know, for a lot of people, it's just about that nostalgia, you know, and that's important. We don't want to always lose that or whatever, and I'm sure we're going to be talking more about the Masters in the next couple weeks.
But it was good. It was a good one. It was a good one this week. Good all start. Right. Well, there you go. With that, I am about to head to the kitchen and make myself some chicken parm. Nice. And no, I'm not. But I wish I was, but I'm not going to. All right, that's it for us for this week. Just want to thank, obviously, our sponsors, Metcalf Golf Club, Celtic Golf Center, presenting sponsor again this week, Golf PEI. Golf Prince Edward Island is premier Canadian golf destination, boasting most number of golf courses per capita in the country. Over 400 fairways, closer than you think. Top-tier accommodations and exquisite culinary experiences. The easiest golf vacation you will ever book is at golfpei.ca. Well, hopefully you've once again been enjoying hearing us or watching us, however you do that. Be sure to follow us across all social media networks, Instagram, X, and Facebook. And subscribe on Spotify, Audible, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts. And do not forget to hit our YouTube channel. Like us, click the notification bell, make sure that you never miss a single episode. And don't forget to get over to flagstick.com. That's where the magic happens. Every single day, more golf content delivered up to that website. Subscribe to the Flagstick Digest newsletter so that all that great information comes directly to your inbox and you can get it firsthand. So that's it. As always, I appreciate you tuning in. But until next week, I am Jeff Potter.
I'm Scott McLeod.
Remember, always go for the stick.